Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
Okay, we are rolling. Tonight is episode 20 of Gridiron Grinder. I'm Ryan, and with me as always is my buddy James. Basically, we're just two dudes talking some smack about football every week. Tonight, we're going to be providing our weekly NFL team power rankings and game picks for week 11. How's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. It's Friday, so week's over.
Heck yeah, man. Well, let's talk about some of these games from last week, man. What'd you think?
I thought Arizona was very fortunate in that game with that Hail Mary because everything I'm hearing all week is that play wasn't designed to go to the end zone.
Oh,
It
no
was
kidding. I
designed
didn't hear
it,
that.
it was designed to go to Isabella underneath and hope he gets out of bounds. But as the play was happening, Kyler realized, well, if I throw it underneath, there's not gonna be any time on the clock. So he's just like, okay, I guess I got to throw it to the end zone and threw it to Hopkins, and Buffalo's defense completely screwed that up by trying to catch the ball instead of knocking it down. But
Yeah, yeah.
and it's a matter like watching that game. It's like which play is better, the catch by Diggs or the catch by Hopkins?
Oh, I know. I mean, yeah, that drive before you thought, wow, Josh Allen just sealed it with like a clutch drive, and yeah, Diggs comes up with that, and then, man, I mean, the Hail Murray as they're calling it, that's like basically the play of the century now. So, fuck, man, Kyler Murray, dude, he's insane, man. He's insane,
Yeah.
and it takes two to tango. Obviously, Hopkins. What are the odds, you make that catch, man? I mean, that's, he was like triple covered or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and he just
But
got up there and plucked it away. That was awesome too. So,
but
um,
I was telling you all off season that Kyler Murray was my dark horse MVP candidate. I just couldn't pick him when we made our picks because I didn't like I could see Arizona's season going one of two ways. It could be like an 8-8 season, or they could like I had them not winning any of the games in their division, or maybe one of
yeah.
the games in their division because their division's so stacked. But I mean, I told you that like I could see them running it to 10, 11 wins this year,
Yeah.
and Kyler winning the MVP.
Yeah, it definitely looks realistic now. And I'm with you. I was like way more cautious than you were with him going into this year. I thought, hey, everything looked good, but it seemed like such a big jump. It's like, man, I don't want to like, go crazy here. But yeah, he's just blown it away. Even in the game last night, even though they lost. I mean, look at it. He took it all the way to the end, man. I mean, like the competitiveness that guy has is just off the charts.
Yeah, and I was on sports radio today. They were talking about how it looked like his shoulder was really bothering him because when the ball was
Yeah.
coming out, the nose was a little bit down and stuff like that. And he didn't have the rushing. I mean, Seattle took that away, which I credit more Seattle's defense for
Yeah.
that. They had a game that I didn't think was possible from them based on how they've been playing previously.
Oh yeah, Carlos Dunlap, the guy they just brought in. He had 2 sacks in that game. That was huge. Jamal Adams, he played and he played well. He had a couple of big plays. Yeah, I think it came together for him. It was, I mean, they were leaky. Like when Arizona needed to move the ball, they were able to move the ball, but Seattle did just enough to slow them down so that their offense could get them over the hump, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what'd you think of that Patriots game, man?
I I wasn't surprised. I really wasn't surprised. Like even like if you listen to how I was making the pick, I was really hesitant on picking Baltimore on that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's something about Belichick, and like I said, like I think he's now 4-0 in the last like 10 years when he's a home underdog. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I just loved it. I mean, I thought Baltimore was going to win, but I loved it that like all of the factors played into the Patriots' favor with the weather and just the way that they were like playing smash mouth football. I mean, it was just like it was perfect, man. I mean, it was raining and it was crazy and it was just like, wow, like what are the odds that they could repeat that in like 50-degree weather that's not raining, and like, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, dude. I think they lose that game more times than they win, but the stars aligned, and that's all it took,
Yeah, and with Baltimore, you could really tell defensively how much they miss Calais Campbell. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, oh yeah,
it was ridiculous how easily New England was moving the ball on them, and then offensively, they're really missing Stanley,
yeah,
Stanley.
yeah. Ronnie Stanley, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
So
sure, yeah.
for some reason, I had it in my head it was Staley for a second. I was like,
No, that's our boy from Central Michigan, Joe Staley. He retired though this past year, but yeah, no, he
yeah,
was. Yeah, no, I miss that guy, man. He held down that line in San Francisco for all those years.
yeah.
All right, so I mean, I got to ask. I'm sure you watched some of the Lions game. What'd you think of that?
Man, I hate the Lions. I texted you like I
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
was early in the second half. I was like, it really feels like the Lions are going to find a way to blow this game.
Oh yeah, and
It's
they
just,
almost did. Yeah.
I mean, Alex Smith had like probably maybe not a career game, but close to it.
Well,
Like,
he set his career high for completions.
yeah, it's just like there's no way Alex Smith should be have that easy of a time against the Lions, especially the week before he threw what 3 interceptions when
Yeah,
he came in the game.
I think I think that was honestly a really good get back on your feet game for Alex Smith, because obviously the Lions defense is porous, and it gave him a chance to shake off some of the rust of being out of football for so long. And yeah, last week the 3 picks, it wasn't good, but this game, and I was texting you. I remember he had a lot of good drives that he would get into our territory, and then it was just like he would make a couple bad mistakes, like mental errors. He would take a sack, or he'd just do something foolish, and then he'd push him out of field goal range, and it was like wow, like if he was playing, I would say 90% peak Alex Smith level, oh, they would have crushed us in that game. Like they
Yeah,
lost. They lost because of some mental mistakes that wouldn't normally have been there if this guy hadn't been out of football for freaking ever.
yeah, exactly. It's frustrating being a Lions fan.
It is for sure, man. It is for sure. All right. Well, hey, let's move on to our sweet name that stadium segment here. And so, as we've been explaining every week, James, you're out and about checking out the world, and as we can see, you got a stadium in the background. Basically, we're asking any of our viewers to take a shot at naming the stadium by submitting their answers into the comments section. If you're the first person to correctly answer that stadium, we'll give you a shout out in next week's show. And so, James, you can't give it away for tonight, but why don't you tell us where you were at last week?
So last week I was at Heinz Field. I had a problem last week because the game I thought was the best game of the week, I already had done that stadium. I thought it was going to be the Tennessee Indy game, and I was right, but I already had been at Tennessee, so I couldn't repeat it.
And I
So
think we
I had to
talked
pick,
about that last week. Is when
yeah,
is that
exactly.
scenario going to come up? Yeah.
Exactly. And then so I picked a game that I was really interested in to see how Joe Burrow did against a tough defense,
Hmm.
which it wasn't great, but I mean he's young, and I was interested in watching that game to see how Joe Burrow did and see if there was a possibility of the Tomlin letdown game.
Oh yeah, I know that you've been calling it with the Steelers. Like one of these softer games, they're going to look ahead and it might bite them in the ass. And yeah, that could have been it. Plus, it was a division game, so you never know. There's that unpredictability factor. I mean, what they end up with 10 points, Cincinnati. I mean, it was
Yeah,
underwhelming. But
something like that.
yeah, I kind of for all the hype that we've been giving Burrow, I would have liked to see a little bit more out of it. But I didn't get to watch the game, so I wasn't really sure. If there was weather factored in or anything like that. It just, we just know they were outmatched, and so what
Yeah.
can you do?
Exactly, and that offensive line in Cincinnati is absolutely terrible.
Oh, for
Absolutely
sure it
terrible.
is. Yeah, no, I That's like one of the things, and I know I'm going on a tangent here, but it drives me nuts with a lot of these teams that they get a high pick and they draft a quarterback. And it's like, I get it, like you're in position and that's your opportunity. But it's like, if you're going to do that, you better go like balls to the walls in free agency, bringing in like every offensive lineman you can find, or make some trades, or use the rest of your draft on the offensive line, because now you got like this guy who's supposed to be the face of the franchise, and you're going to shell shock him just like Burrow. He's getting hit more than any other quarterback, right? I mean, it's, or he was a few weeks ago. I don't know if those stats are still holding true, but it's like, man, you got to protect that guy, dude. You got a lot wrapped up in him now.
Yeah, exactly. You got to protect him, and that should be the first thing they do. Like the defense is terrible, but isn't performing well. But you got to get that offensive line, because if you don't get anyone in their offensive line, then Burrow's going to get hurt. He's going to have, he's Andrew Luck syndrome, where he retires after 5 years or however long 8 years, however long he was in the league, because he's just getting hit all the time.
Yeah, you get sick of getting smoked, man. Yeah, and then you worry nowadays with all the all the information we have now of these last however many years about the brain injuries, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I could see it. If you're gonna get sacked freaking 60 times in a season, it's gonna make you think.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, enough of that. So let's jump over to our weekly power rankings. James, why don't you give me your top 5, man?
All right. So my top 2 are the same. I got Pittsburgh and Kansas City. I still Pittsburgh's undefeated. That's the only reason they're ahead of Kansas City. I think the more I think about it, I think if they were to play, Kansas City might win, but I got to respect the fact that Pittsburgh just keeps going out there and winning the games. And as long as they do that, I can't drop them from the top spot. At 3, I have Green Bay. I bumped them up 1 spot. Yeah, they struggled against Jacksonville a little bit, but I think that might be more of a kind of taking it easy because this team's not good and this and that, and kind of overlooking them versus them actually having real struggles against them. I mean, the running defense especially, leaves a lot to be desired, but I mean, they're still a solid team, and as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing at the level he is, they could play with, if not beat, almost anybody in the league.
Yeah.
At number 4, I dropped Baltimore down 1 spot. I almost dropped Baltimore out of my top 10 this week. Like, I'm really down on Baltimore and what I've seen from them. They can't protect Lamar Jackson. Their defense isn't playing good. It's just they're not showing up to these games. And plus, they lost to New England, who I declared dead last week.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but like I was saying, I think the weather was a big part of that game, and just the smash mouth, run first mentality in New England going into that, it just played in their favor. And I think Baltimore probably thought, hey, we're going to do what we always do. And, maybe they didn't prepare correctly for what happened with the weather.
Yeah, and also with the thing with Baltimore, and you called it before the season, and I wasn't. I was a little bit hesitant to say that, but it's like the league's caught up to Jackson. Like, if you look at some of the running plays that New England ran, like, I mean, there was a quarterback sneak by Newton that was exactly the same as a running play with Lamar Jackson that Baltimore did last year. And so I'm hearing this week that they're kind of redoing some stuff on offense to and it didn't help that Lamar Jackson basically admitted that everyone's calling out the plays and they know what's coming.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm hoping that's what the revamp of the offense is kind of what stopped me from dropping them much further than just the 1 spot. And then I moved Indianapolis up 9 spots this week.
Yeah, that's a huge bump, man.
To number 5. I started saying this last week or the week before. I think this team is better than we give them credit for. That defense is phenomenal. And as long as Phillip Rivers isn't isn't giving the ball away and forgetting that he plays for Indianapolis, not whoever they're playing, that this team can do some things. I don't know if I would want to see them in the playoffs. I think this team could win some games in the playoffs how they're playing right now.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got Indy up here, not quite that high, but yeah, they're definitely having a good run right now. All right, so flipping it over to my board, I've also got Pittsburgh at 1, just like I have the past however many weeks. I mean, hey man, that Steel City train keeps rolling, so I'm going to keep them at number 1 over on my board until they lose. Kansas City, I still got them at 2. No game, no move, no big deal. But I agree with you. If they played with Pittsburgh straight up right now, it's hard to say, man. They might be able to take them. I think honestly it would depend on if Pittsburgh's defense could slow down Kansas City's offense, and then it would depend on which Kansas City defense are we getting, because they've looked great in games and they've looked piss poor in games. And if they're piss poor, the Steelers could just spank them. So you never know. But at number 3, I've also got Green Bay. I moved them up 2 spots this week. And honestly, I kind of debated moving the Saints above them here. But the injury to Breeze, it puts some things in doubt. And, with Green Bay, we know that they're good. It's just that their defense and their offensive line is a cause for concern for me. And so, they're at 3, kind of just because I don't like any of the other teams around here right now getting to 3. But it's tough, man. Like, I kind of look at them and like this whole chunk of teams on my board where I'm like, they're kind of interchangeable depending on what's going on in any given week. At 4, I've got the Saints, and so I bumped them up 2 spots. I mean, geez, that injury to Breeze is brutal. And so we'll see, between Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, if they can hold it together until he gets back. They have the potential. I like that their defense is getting better. As the season has gone on, it's finally coming around for that defense, and I think that's going to be important for them. And I mean, hey, you're talking a team that has like ridiculous depth at quarterback. No other team has that, and so they should be able to make it work between those 2 backups. At 5, I've got Baltimore. I dropped them down 2 spots. And so kind of like what I was saying, I didn't want to beat them up too bad because the weather was a factor. They still should have won that game. I'm just not going to kill them on my board just yet.
Yeah, which makes sense.
All right, flipping it back to you, man. Give me 6 through 10.
All right, so at 6, I have Arizona. I bumped them up 2 spots. I think they'll probably go back down after last night's game. I kind of did part of my rankings before last night's game, part of my rankings today. So I left Arizona there because that's where I was at the end of last week with them.
Gotcha.
And then Buffalo, I dropped down 1 spot from 6 to 7. I mean, they lost to Arizona. I was putting Arizona at 8 or 7, so I just put Arizona above Buffalo because they lost to them.
Yeah, it made sense. I got you.
Tennessee, I dropped down 1 spot. Basically, Tennessee, I think this team has some stuff to figure out. I think that they have the makings of a good team, but like I said last week, with Long missing, their offense is looking a little shaky. I think they have the opportunity to get right maybe this week with in the game, which I'm just drawing a blank right now on who they're playing. Hold on. Who are they playing this week?
I'll tell you in just a second.
Yeah, I was. They're playing Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and but with Baltimore, the thing with Baltimore is their run defense has been shaky this year. But we'll get into that later.
All right.
But so I think Tennessee can possibly get right this week. Maybe Seattle. I left them at 9. This is kind of where last night factored in. I couldn't really drop them. I think with Russell with Wilson and this offense did, and they had the injuries, and they're getting players back at running back. And last night their running game looked phenomenal, so it kind of
Yeah.
factored in a little bit there. And then at 10, I left Tampa Bay there. I'm not sold on Tampa Bay as I was at the beginning of the year, but I think this team has the makings of being being a Super Bowl contender. They just have to start playing more consistently. I thought Carolina was in the first half was too much in the game than they should have been.
Okay.
I think the second half they played well, but not well enough to move up after beating Carolina last week.
I gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, looking at mine, I've actually got Tampa Bay at 6. And so I bumped them up 2 spots from last week. And, this is one of these deals where I looked around online, checking a bunch of different sources, and I saw Tampa Bay way higher on some teams' boards, as high as 3. And, to me, that's a little bit excessive. But, I could see the argument because if you look just at the box score, they did crush the Panthers. I like what you're saying, though. If you look a little bit deeper, it maybe wasn't as drastic as the final score is really reflecting. But I still like them for now, and I'm putting them at 6. Part of it is just, like I said earlier, I got this like chunk of teams on my board that just, it's like in any given week I'm seeing things I like or don't like, and I'm like, man, I guess I got to put you here, or I got to move you to there. And so they got the benefit of the doubt this time around. At 7, I got Buffalo, and I dropped them down 3 spots. It's tough to knock them too much because they lost on a freaking insane Hail Mary play. And so, yeah, I put them down 3 spots, but they're still solidly in my top 10. Let's see how they do in this next game. I think they're on bye this week, but I don't want to like kill them. And then at 8, I've got Indianapolis. I pushed them up 2 places. It's funny, man. After the game, I read something about how they've won 20 of their last 24 games against the Titans. And this game, really wasn't even close. I mean, they were up by, 3 scores. And, I think they finished that game winning by 17. So I'm still a little bit hesitant with the Colts just because I can't trust Phillip Rivers. But I love their defense. I love what they're doing with the running game. They have, one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the league. And had I known that 20 out of 24 stat, I might not have fucking picked the Titans to win that game last week. But
yeah, exactly.
All right, so then at number 9, I've got the Rams. I bumped them up 2 spots. And I thought, hey, they got a solid win against the Seahawks last week, which is exactly what I was expecting for them coming off of a bye week. You had 2 good teams playing, division rivals, and one had extra time to prepare. They should have won that game. And so I thought they did their job, and that's cool. I got them at 9. Let's see if they can keep pushing. At 10, I've got Seattle. I dropped them down 3 spots. This was all done before last night. And, it's tough for these guys. Kind of like what I'm saying with the Rams. They played a team that knows them well, that really just had a little bit more time to prepare for them. And so, that's an uphill battle for any team. But, I didn't want to kill them just like some of these other teams. But, I dropped them down 3 spots, and they're hanging on to the top 10 for now. All right, back to you, man, 11 through 15.
All right, so at 11, I left Miami there. I'm not sure exactly what to do with Miami. I really like this team, but all these teams in this area, they're all pretty equal. I think Miami has a solid chance at this weekend, or not this weekend, at week 17, playing Buffalo for the division, basically. And I think Miami they have a solid team. Tua is playing well. That defense is phenomenal, and their special teams is probably of the best in the league.
Oh yeah.
The Rams stayed at 12. Yeah, they beat Seattle, and you can make the argument to put the Rams above Seattle, like you did, but I'm not 100% sold on the Rams just yet. I think you have games where they look good, the offense clicking, and then you have the games like the Miami game, is where the offense looks like crap. And was that Miami's defense, or was that the Rams just mailing it in? New Orleans, I dropped down 8 spots to number 13.
8 spots off a win. Whew.
Yeah.
But hey, I got you. Let's hear it. Yeah.
It was more of the fact that Breeze's injuries really concerned me for this team. They put him on, and especially they put him on IR, so he's out at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think they screwed up by naming Taysom Hill the starting quarterback for this weekend.
Oh shit! I didn't hear that. I thought it was going to be Jameis, and they were going to keep him in his gadget role. I didn't know that Taysom started.
Well, I don't know if they've officially announced it.
Okay.
But the reports are that Taysom Hill took all the first team snaps this week.
Wow. Well, I got an interesting stat on Taysom Hill when we get to our game picks, but I'll save that for then.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge mistake. I think if they started Jameis Winston this week, and he was the starting quarterback in place of Breeze, he could win 3 of the next 4 games, or all 4 of them, because it's not that difficult of a schedule, really.
Well, and he's going up against a super weak Atlanta secondary. I mean, that's
right.
Just let him air it out. I mean, Jameis can sling it. So
yeah, but then again, is starting Taysom this week a function of the fact that Winston struggles against Atlanta? You got to remember his last pass last season was a pick 6 against Atlanta.
Hey, that could have something to do with it. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like. I mean, Taysom Hill's completed 10 passes for 200 yards.
I don't even think it's that. I'll tell you, that's actually one of the stats I got.
Yeah. So it's like, Jameis threw more interceptions last year than Taysom Hill's completed in his entire career.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing with Taysom, but that's another. We'll get a little bit more into that with the picks. But at 14, I have Vegas. I gave them a 1 spot bump. They won easily last week, but they were playing the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are proving to not be able to handle all the injuries that they have, and I don't give them that much credit for beating the Broncos last week.
I got you.
And at 15, I gave New England a 2 spot bump. I mean, they beat Baltimore. Yeah, weather played a huge factor in it, but one of the things I heard, I don't know if it was during the broadcast or if it was when they were talking about it, is they intentionally last week played or practiced at night in downpours.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So going into that game, it's like Bill Belichick knew it's gonna be monsoon, so we're gonna do all our practices in a downpour. Not all of them, but like 1 or 2 of their practices.
Yeah.
It was like Wednesday or Thursday night, Wednesday or Thursday that week, they ran their entire practice in a rainstorm.
Hey, it's like they got like the Tropicana weatherman on payroll, man. Like, hey, tell us what's going to happen this weekend because we got to prepare.
Right, but also that team started to look a little bit right, and I don't know if, again, it could have just been the weather, but I think they're starting to figure out a formula.
Yeah, it was a big win for them, and so I don't have them that high, at least not yet, but I do see some of the glimmers of hope for them. All right, so flipping it over my way, at 11 I've got the Raiders, and I bumped them up 1 spot from last week. I couldn't put them any higher just because I started thinking, hey, I've got Seattle at 10. I don't think the Raiders could beat the Seahawks, and so this might be their ceiling on my board, but. We'll see what happens. I like what they're doing. I like Josh Jacobs, that running game. Their defense, they've been streaky, but their offense definitely has potential. At 12, I got Cleveland. I bumped them up 1 spot from last week, and, it was another super low-scoring affair for them, which they've had a few this year. But the important thing is that they find ways to come out on top, and that's good. They got Chubb's back now. They can just ground and pound, and I think that plays into their favor, especially as we're getting closer to the end of the season. There's going to be more of these nasty weather games, and they're built for that, and so that's cool. It plays into their strength. At 13, I got the Dolphins. I moved them up one spot. To me, I'm getting a little bit nervous with how high they're climbing on my board, because some of these games, when you watch them and you read about them afterwards, there's like a little bit of flukiness going on with some of these defensive plays and like the special teams plays like you're talking about. At the end of the day, I like it. I think it's a great story, and I was really excited with everything they did in the offseason. We talk about that every week pretty much. But it just seems like, holy shit, 13 already. They're getting up there. I just hope they can maintain it. At 14, I got Arizona. And, it's weird because when I put this together, I got this together last night before the game. And I kind of thought, wow, I'm really sandbagging Arizona, because every other board I looked at, Arizona's like a top 10 team now. And I don't know. I mean, hey, they ended up losing last night, but I still think even with last night's loss, I probably still have them too low on my board. They should probably be higher than 14. But they did lose to Miami, and so I guess there's like a little bit of harmony on my board because of that. But I think maybe in the back of my mind, I'm probably penalizing them for the Detroit game, and who knows? But whatever. I mean, hey, Kyler Murray, he looks like a freak. We talked about it. And then at 15, I've got Tennessee. I dropped them down 6 spots, and I think that this one was maybe a little bit aggressive, but I've seen some flaws now in their game the last, several weeks in a row that just, I don't know, and we kind of called it before, where it seemed like they were outplaying their talent level, and I think that finally they're starting to get exposed. You were absolutely on it. Losing Taylor Lewan is definitely a factor for this team. And I don't know. I mean, their defense, they've been great at playing creative football. It's kind of been like a bend, don't break defense, though. And, it's tough. Like this week against Baltimore, can they get creative and slow down Lamar? I don't know, man. They had that upset in the playoffs last year, but this looks like a different Tennessee team all of a sudden. It's making me a bit nervous.
Yeah, and I can see that. Like I said, I probably have them a little high still, but we'll see with this with them.
And it's tough, man, because you hear me every week talk about how much I like Vrabel, and so when I dropped him 6 on the board, man, I didn't do it lightly, but maybe there was a little bit of emotion in there. I don't know. We'll see. All right, back to you, man. 16 through 20.
All right, at 16, I have Cleveland. They got a 2-spot bump. The 2-spot bump is more of the fact that I dropped 2 teams that were ahead of them to being behind them. I'm not as impressed by Cleveland's win. Yeah, they gutted it out, and it was terrible weather and this and that, but they were playing a pretty bad team.
Mm-hmm.
And to win by, what was it, a field goal or a touchdown, whatever, and only be able to put up 10 points against them, that's not very impressive to me. At 17, I have San Francisco. I dropped them down 4 spots. I probably was too nice to them, only dropping them down 4 spots, but I'm starting to see who this team is with all the injuries, and it's not good. I feel bad because I like Shanahan as a coach. I think at the beginning of the season he was like I used to say he can do magical things with what they have, but it's just the team starting to not be able to outplay its talent like it had. 18, I have Chicago. I dropped them down 2 spots from last week. With Chicago, I don't really like this. It's not that I don't like the Bears. I don't like the offense there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe going into last week with Nagy giving up the play calling and I thought there would be a little bit of hope in the offense. Maybe they would be more creative or something, but they weren't. That offense is inept. I don't even know. I didn't even see the injury report this week. If how hurt Foles got at the end of the game, which with Trubisky being out, possibly out with the shoulder injury again. I mean, Bray playing quarterback. I mean, gosh.
I think Foles is going to be back. I didn't read up on it today, but the last I heard is that basically it looked bad initially, and then the test came back, and it was like, okay, it was not anywhere near as bad as they had feared.
Yeah.
But does that mean he'll be back this week, or is he going to need a week off to, heal up? I don't know. I kind of assumed he'd be back this week, but we'll see.
At 19, I have the Giants. I gave them an 11 spot bump.
Holy shit, an 11 spot bump? Are you crazy?
Yeah. No, I'm not. I really, really like Joe Judge as a coach.
Oh, man. I was dogging him for like the first 6 weeks of the year.
Yeah. But the more I look at the Giants, I mean, they're losing close games. They're fighting. They lost to Tampa Bay by 2.
That's true.
It's a play here or a play there, and this team has a much better winning percentage. Plus, I had to respect. I don't know if they're true, but word is they fired their offensive line coach this week after Joe Judge and him got into a fist fight in practice.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh, yeah. All right. So they're taking it up a notch. Yeah.
Apparently, this offensive line coach is 6'3", 300 plus pounds, and Joe Judge is like, "Fuck it, let's fight."
Yeah.
So I mean,
you like the feistiness.
I like the feistiness, and I like a little bit of what I see in the team. And I've been dogging them all year with how terrible it is. But the more I look into them, I see a lot of promise there.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, I liked them until I started hearing the all the drill instructor talk with Joe Judge, and there ended up being a lot of things like right before the season started that made me think, oh man, I don't know. And then I was all hyped up on Daniel Jones, and and then he started off just like so freaking abysmal. He did nothing for like, I don't know, the first 4 or 5 weeks. But no, you're right. In recent weeks, they are playing close games, and I don't know. Now that you say that, I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to look at this team again, because I definitely don't have them this high on my board.
Yeah, and the other thing I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Daniel Jones hasn't been turning the ball over.
Yeah, and that's a difference maker. If you can protect the ball, it changes the game.
And then plus, I couldn't put them below my 20 team, the team I have at 20, which is Philadelphia, because they just beat Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
Which Philadelphia stayed at 20, which is where I had them going last week.
Fair enough. All right, so flipping it back my way, I've got Minnesota at 16. I bumped them up 8 spots. This, I think, is the biggest move I've had all season. And you know what? I probably should have given them a little bit more credit a few weeks ago when they beat Green Bay. I just honestly, I didn't think it was a sustainable thing for them, because their defense has been god-awful this year. But you know what? Their offense is starting to figure it out, and it seems like they got a little bit of momentum building. And so, I'm giving them a little bump here for now. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. At 17, I got Chicago. I dropped them down 1 spot. It's really hard watching these guys. I mean, their defense, minus like 1 or 2 plays, they really did what they needed to do in terms of containing Dalvin Cook. But fuck, man, their offense just couldn't do shit. And that's against a piss poor Minnesota defense. And so it's not going to happen for them. And so it just kind of like confirms that earlier on in the year when they were winning all those games, that was a fluke. I mean, this is the real Bears team. You can't be all defense and have nothing on offense. I mean, that's just, you're not going to go anywhere. At 18, I've got New England. I bumped them up 7 spots, which is another big move on my board. Hey, they, like we talked about, they had the perfect game plan against the Ravens. And so I got to give them credit for it. It was a big win. 19, I got Carolina. I dropped them down 2 spots. Listen, going into last week, I know we talked about it a little bit, but Tampa Bay, they were on a mission to kill someone after losing that week before. And so it just so happened to be Carolina. And, like you're saying, it sounds like they kept it close early on, but Tampa ultimately ended up pulling away. Carolina did put up points, and so it's not the end of the world. They still have a lot going for them, and I like the story, but I think maybe I got a little bit too giddy because they don't really have the wins to justify being in the middle of the pack on my board just yet. So I slid them down 2 spots. We'll see what happens. And then at 20, I've got San Francisco. I dropped them down 2 spots also. What do you say about these guys? I mean, we cover it every week. It's the injuries, and they're just going to keep sliding. And I don't see any end in sight, but it sucks. I don't want to beat them up any more than that. They're already pretty beat up. No pun intended. Or pun intended. I don't know. All right, James, 21 through 25, man. Where are you at?
All right. So 21, I have Cincinnati. I left them at 21 because I'm not going to kill them for losing to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I as I said last week, this feels about right for them. And until I see something that proves it differently, I probably will keep them here.
Okay.
At 22, I have the Chargers. The Chargers last week. I mean, I thought they were going to lose last week as it was. You flipped over during the week, I think it was, or during the weekend. You flipped.
Yeah, when I found out about Bosa.
Yeah, and I thought they were going to lose last week. I'm not going to kill them for losing to Miami, especially since though I have Miami so high on the board. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the Chargers, did you see Justin Herbert's new haircut?
I heard that he got a new haircut. I did not see it.
Oh my gosh, he looks like a 15-year-old kid trying to make the high school team. It's terrible.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to. All right, just keep talking. I'm gonna look it up right now because you've piqued my interest.
23. I have Denver. I dropped them down 3 spots. Yeah, they lost to Vegas. I have Vegas higher, but the team just looks pathetic. It's again one of those things. Drew Lock does not look like the answer there. And
Holy shit! I just pulled it up. You're right. He looks like a freaking little kid, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's bad. Apparently, he let the strength and conditioning coach cut his hair.
He better grow a fucking beard or something. This is the big leagues.
Yeah, really. I told you it's bad.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, hey, wow. That's a pretty big transformation.
So with Denver, I feel bad for Denver, honestly. Like, Elway can't pick a quarterback.
No.
At all. Peyton Manning fell into his lap, and that's the only quarterback that they've had the entire time Elway's always been there. 24, I left Houston at 24. I think this team is doing better after getting rid of Bill O'Brien, which I was surprised came into the season with him. But I see some promise there, and I don't want to really kill them for losing to Cleveland because that was a tough game. Did you see any of the kick highlights in the game? Didn't one?
I didn't know.
One kick go 20 yards across the goalpost, or it was dead center, and then all of a sudden the wind hit, and it was 20 yards out, 20 yards wide left or something. I mean, it was bad. You thought New England was bad weather.
Yeah, no, dude, I tell you, man, I almost, and I don't really bet often on this stuff, but I right before the game, I saw that Cleveland had a severe wind advisory and I thought, oh wow, this is a game that you got to take the under on.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I didn't make the bet, but I wish I did, obviously, in hindsight. And yeah, the weather just fucking smoked both teams, man.
Yeah. 25, I have Minnesota. I'm still a little bit cautious about Minnesota. I see some promise. I see the offense starting to figure things out, but the defense is not starting to figure things out, and that defense needs to play better for them to move up further on my board.
Makes sense. Okay, over on my side here, I've got Atlanta at 21. For them, hey, they were on bye, so I didn't move them around. 22, I got Cincinnati. I dropped them down 2 spots, but it's not as bad as Philly, who I've got next at 23. Philly, I dropped 4 spots. I'm not prepared to have the Giants leapfrog them just yet. I'm just going to chalk it up to a poor showing. But Philly's now had a number of poor showings, and so maybe I need to be looking closer at the Giants, and I just got to let it go with Philly. At 24, I've got the Chargers. I dropped them down 1 spot, and kind of like I've got some shit here with Denver, but they're in my next tier. But unlike Denver, these guys are playing competitive football every week. They're just not finishing games, and so I dropped them down. But I didn't smoke them kind of like I did Denver, which we'll get to in the next tier. And then at 25, I've got Detroit. I put them up 2 spots, which it's hard for me to bump them. But honestly, like all the teams in this range have been sucking it up. And so the Lions, they're getting the benefit of that. And then they got the benefit of having a soft schedule these last handful of weeks, and minus the Indy game. And, really, like we talked about it, if Alex Smith was even 90% of his true self, they would have spanked us in that game. It's just that he's coming back from a very serious injury, shaking off a lot of rust, and he almost beat us. But he did make a number of mental mistakes that put him out of that game. And so that's my 21 through 25. All right, let's flip it back to you, man. 26 through 30.
So 26, I have the Lions. They beat a team worse than them, and also one thing that I just noticed with this is like 24, 25, and 26. I actually would have gotten a 1-spot boost if I didn't take the Giants from 30 to 19.
Yeah.
So the Lions, they would have gotten a 1-spot boost, but I mean, they played Washington. I can't give them much credit for that. Oh, and the 1-spot boost was because I took Jacksonville below. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like just kind of a function of where I think they are. I don't think I was really high on them coming into the season, and then I realized a little bit into the season Patricia can't coach football, and they just need to get rid of his ass.
Ditto.
Okay.
Ditto. I concur. Whatever you want me to say. Yeah, I fully support you. Let's start a petition. Whatever we got to do, man.
Yeah, I don't want to delve too much into the Lions because I am really
you'll
annoyed.
get me started. We'll be dropping F-bombs, pounding shots, fucking breaking shit. I know.
Exactly. Jacksonville, I dropped down to 27. Yeah, they played Green Bay tough. Yeah, they played Green Bay tough. That's the only good thing I can say about this team.
Yeah.
Their offense, I think getting rid of Fournette was a good move because Robinson is actually capable there, and their running game hasn't missed a beat without Fournette this year.
I think honestly, and I'll just jump in real quick. I think Robinson is like the perfect running back for Jay Gruden's offense because he does a great combination of running and receiving. And like in the past in Washington, Gruden always kind of had a rotation with like Chris Thompson always in the mix, and a number of like kind of like pounder running backs to like kind of put in and do whatever. But it was always a problem because they knew like, oh, well, if Chris Thompson's in the game, it's probably a pass. And if it was so-and-so in the game, it's probably a run. With this, you got that element of surprise where it's like, well, shit, we don't know. This guy's kind of like, the dual threat running back. And so it's working out really well for him. I like what I'm seeing out of that guy.
And I heard a good one this week for Jets fans. You know how it's like tanking for Tua
Yeah.
or sucking for whoever. I guess the new cheer for the Jets fans is rooting for Luton.
Rooting for Luton. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So because it's basically it's going to come down to the Jets in Jacksonville who gets the number one pick, and if as long as the Jets keep losing, they'll get the number one pick. But if Jacksonville and the Jets are tied, I think on strength of schedule, Jacksonville will get the number one pick.
Oh, yeah, and you know that they're obviously looking for a quarterback. I mean, they gutted the team, so
Yeah.
the writing is on the wall in Jacksonville.
At 28, I have Atlanta. I dropped them down one spot. I mean, yeah, it's because I took the Giants from behind them and moved them up. But the thing with Atlanta is with Raheem Morris as coach, I see a lot of fight in this team, and this team looks to me like it's turning it around. I need to see a little bit more. Maybe after this weekend, they might get a couple more spots, maybe put them ahead of Detroit, even though they lost to Detroit.
Barely, but yeah.
Barely. And I see a lot of promise in the team that I didn't see at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
29, I dropped Carolina down one spot. This is just a function of the Giants jumping way up. With Carolina, I really like some bits and pieces I see out of this team. I'm concerned with the Bridgewater injury. That's concerning. I don't even know who's playing quarterback for them this week. I didn't care when I made my pick because of who they're playing, but I like Matt Rule as a coach. Joe Brady's going to get a head coaching job soon, too. But I can't be this team. They started out great, and I think they've lost their last 5 or something.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And I've got them a lot higher on my board, and it's one of the things that I looked at this week. I thought the wins really just aren't there, and then with Bridgewater being out, it's like it seems highly likely that they're going to lose this week, which means, maybe next week is the big week that I put them down hard on my board. But you've already done that, so it won't be so bad for you.
Yeah. And at 30, I have Washington. They dropped down one spot. It's the only reason they dropped down one spot is because I moved the Giants way up.
Yeah.
I keep harping on it. I like this defense. The offense needs to figure some things out. I think against the Lions, it probably was a function of the fact that they were playing the Lions. I saw a lot of promise out of Alex Smith, and I think he's on the path to looking a little bit like his old self.
Yeah, I hear you. The one thing I worry about with Washington is that I read this week that their sack numbers are way down in like the last however many weeks. And that was really the thing that was making their defense look solid earlier in the year. And so they got to figure that out and get back to that. But they definitely have the pieces there. They've got the potential. All right, kicking it over my way at 26, I got Denver. I dropped them down 4 spots. These guys are killing me. It's like, we just had a couple weeks ago, I was talking a bunch of shit about Drew Lock, and then they come out and they fucking nail a solid win. And then, I'm like, oh man, maybe I spoke too soon. And here we go. They dip right back into their shitty ways, and they basically did nothing against the Raiders except suck it up. And so, I don't know, dude. I can't get behind them. That's all it is. Like you're saying, Elway and company, they're going to be back in the market for a quarterback. And yeah, he did have one quarterback gifted to him, which was Peyton Manning. But other than that, yeah, he's not done shit to find a quarterback. He's tried. I'll give him credit. He has tried. He has just not hit. At 27, I got the Giants. I put them up one, and wow, you have like inspired me to like kick myself. And next week probably have to move them up much higher than this. I was tempted, honestly, to put them above Denver just because of how down I am on Denver. I think I'm just, in my mind, I'm still thinking of like the early season Giants, and I'm like, fuck, man, these guys just aren't winning games. And I know they did just beat Philly, but it's like, Philly's not all that impressive either. So I don't know. I got them at 27. We'll see how it changes next week. At 28, I got Houston. I took them down 2 spots, and so even though I thought Cleveland was going to win that game, I thought that there was some potential that Houston could pull off the upset. And it was a close game, but it was all about the weather. And when you have Deshaun Watson as your quarterback, I don't know, man, whether or not, I think you got to put up more than 7 fucking points, man. And so that kind of bothered me, but, it is what it is. At 29, I've got Washington. Hey, I get it. They lost. I think that they're better than the teams I've got further down on this board. And honestly, I think that they're a team that's like primed to start climbing every week on my board. But they got to win some games. And then at 30, I got Dallas. Hey, they didn't play, and so I didn't move them. The board didn't go that crazy that they got a gift or a penalty for no reason, so they stayed where they were at. All right, back to you, man. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Unlike you, I dropped. I mean, it's perfect because I have Dallas at 31. I dropped Dallas 2 spots, and the reason I dropped Dallas 2 spots, well, one of the spots is because I jumped the Giants up so high.
Yeah.
I had the Giants behind Dallas. Now they're ahead of them. The other spot, like the more I look at this team, the more concerns I have about it.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, they get Andy Dalton back this week, which should prove a little bit better. But if you look at the weeks when Andy Dalton was playing quarterback, that offense wasn't doing good.
He looked really bad. You would, and I know I'm jumping in on you, and I'm sorry, but for him being a seasoned veteran who's actually had a number of good years in Cincinnati, you would have thought that the moment he came off that bench, he would have been able to put up at least, I don't know, 75% of the stats that Dak was putting up, because it's still like dynamite fucking wide receivers, man. And no, you're right. He came off the bench and did jack shit.
Exactly. And they're not, I don't think they're utilizing Zeke properly.
No. They fucked that up bad with Zeke. And their offensive line is like decimated with injuries, but still, it's fucking Zeke.
Right, exactly. So I actually think that Dallas right now is the worst team in that division.
Yeah. I buy it.
Which is saying something as bad as that division is.
Yeah. But no, I mean, hey, like you're saying, the Giants, they're showing signs of life. Washington, showing signs of life. Philly, holy fuck, I thought that they were going to be the one to pull away, and now I'm like, apparently not. I don't know. So
yeah, I said for 2 or 3 weeks that I thought Philly was possibly the best team in the division.
Yeah.
And now I have the Giants as the best team in the division. I think the Giants are going to host a playoff game with like 5-6 wins and a 9-win team.
Yeah.
is going to not make the playoffs because of it.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but that's the system.
Yeah, and at 32, I have the Jets. I mean, it's the Jets.
Nothing's changed. They've been here all year.
Yeah, I think week 1 I might have had them above 32. I might have had going into the season. I think I had them up. Look. I had them at 30.
Dude, the crazy thing is, if we go back, and I off the top of my head, I'm not 100% certain, but I might have had Miami all the way at the bottom because of how many moves they had in the offseason. And that's how much it's changed with Miami, man. But with the Jets, it's like, I know that they were very close to the bottom. And so if they weren't at 32, they were within like a couple spots, and they just like, they dropped the rest of the way.
Yeah, I just because I have
You have the
one file that
skills to
has that.
multitask. Yeah.
No, I have the one file that has all like week by week rankings in it,
Yeah.
where like it's on one sheet, and I had them week one. I had the Jets at 30,
Okay.
and then they just
You
week
know, and
week two they went down to 32, and they've been there since.
and I remember talking about them when the season started that we both fucking hate Adam Gase and we thought this team was going to suck. But I do remember us saying that it's crazy because we thought that last year and somehow they won like fucking 6 games or whatever it was last year. And so it was like
Exactly.
that was like one of the only reasons we didn't start them at 32 on the board this year.
Exactly. And then, uh, I mean, they're just bad. I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
what to say about the Jets. They don't, and Darnold's out again this week. I'm sorry, he's doubtful this week.
Yeah.
So looks like Flacco's winning. I don't, or not winning. Oh God, no.
If they win this game, dude, it'd be wild.
Oh
Uh,
God, no. It looks like Flacco's starting at quarterback this week. So, I mean, and it's Flacco. I mean, he was another attempt by
Elway.
Elway for a
Yeah.
quarterback.
And that one I think was worth the risk, to be
Yeah,
honest, because he did win a Super Bowl. He did have a lot of good years, but he had a back injury that it seemed like he just couldn't get over. And when you're a team like Denver, you're willing to roll the dice on a guy like that because you don't really know. Like, hey, maybe this is the year that he finally gets healthy and he can get back to form. But I think we've seen it with Flacco. He's got like some serious, permanent, whatever lingering effects you want to call it. He's just never going to be the same.
yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'll give you my dogs. I got Jacksonville at 31. They were here last week. Yeah, you talked about it. They kept it close against the Packers. Who knows? Were the Packers looking ahead, or was it just that's how it shook out? It is weird that it came down to a Hail Mary, and so I don't know. I can't bump them unless they get wins. So they're sitting at 31. And then the Jets, I got them at 32. Obviously, here's the one thing about the Jets that I will say. They're coming off a bye week. Maybe, just maybe, they put all of their effort into squeezing out a win this week. If not, I think 0-16 is like a 90+% probability for them. And it'd be hard for them to get a win this week. But, teams coming off buys, you got that extra time to prepare. You never know if it's going to happen. This is probably it. If it doesn't happen, I think that's kind of what they want because they want Trevor Lawrence. So, it's a win-win for them. Either they win or they lose, and they're going to get Trevor Lawrence. So that's my thought. Okay. Those are the power rankings. Let's flip it over to the Week 11 picks. And before we give our picks, we always like to just do a little bit of a recap of the past week and where we're at year to date, all that kind of bullshit. So last week, James, we hit 9 out of 14, which is good for about 64%. I'm still up by one game, not counting last night. And it's been a nail biter every week. I think it's exciting this week because we got a lot of variance, which means it could swing. You could get me, or I could pull away. Nobody knows. But season to date, we're sitting at 95 and 96 wins respectively, which has us both at 66%. I think that's pretty good, but who really knows? We talked about it. It's our first time doing this. We'll keep tracking it, see what happens. We've got a lot riding on the line. We talk about it every week. $100 whiskey bet. It's pretty legit. And before we jump into them, James, I gotta say, I hit you up earlier. Week 11, man, this has been a tough week for me to name some picks. And I played around with my model throughout that game last night, really trying to nail it down. And I think that this is one where any kind of change or any kind of thing that you overlook from this week's injury report could be a factor in at least 4 or 5 of these games. And so, This could be the week where we have the most games flip between now and Sunday. But I feel pretty comfortable with what I did, and I don't like flipping the pick. But every day you get new information, and this is definitely an interesting week, man. What do you think?
I think it is. I've actually, since I sent you my list of my picks, I've actually flipped another one. So I
You've
think
already changed, yeah.
we have an additional
Oh,
difference
against each
this.
other. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's just two or three of my picks flipped basically straight off the injury report, which we'll get into that a little bit when we hit that game. But there were a couple. The injury report or other news coming out about the team kind of flipped some picks for me this week, which I mean it was that close on some of them. On the other ones, I
Yeah.
mean it's just that darn close this week. There's my modeling, my thoughts on it. I went straight by my model this week. I didn't change anything that I thought the other way on, or I thought didn't make sense. I just went straight by my modeling this week.
Yeah, and I tried to do the same thing, and I tell you, it like you're saying, and like we're both saying, like every little adjustment has like just been enough to move the arrow on some of these games, man. And it's I don't know. I hopefully that means we're in for some good football on Sunday. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, why don't we start with last night? So you got the Cardinals at the Seahawks, and I do like the way that we started. You had Arizona, I had Seattle, and I'm not just saying that because I won. I'm saying that because we've obviously been in like fucking gridlock, nonstop losing on Thursday nights, and so this was kind of the way of, well, at least one of us going to win this game, unless there's like some fluke tie. And obviously we know now Seattle won last night, but after the last time they played, man, that was an intense matchup that went to overtime. And so going into this, I mean, my model had Seattle, and I was just kind of hoping that they were going to make the adjustments because my model had them before, and they lost that game in the second half. And so, I think conceptually, I'm a big believer of the whole argument that evenly matched teams typically trade wins in a season. And so I think that kind of helped me get comfortable with Seattle in last night's game. And then after having watched it, like you said, I mean, they got the run game going with Carlos Hyde, which was nice. And I think that's important for them. I think that Seattle needs to run the ball. We talked about it early on with Dallas. If you just pass the ball nonstop, you're doing your defense a discredit, and it can bite you in the ass. And so, that helped them. Kyler Murray, I mean, hey, the dude's still just a freaking freak. I did want to say this before I let you give me your take. I was looking at NFL.com, checking out the player stats and the team stats and all that kind of fun stuff. And I was kind of stunned that they're showing Kyler Murray has a quarterback rating of 98.7. And if you just know the number, what does that mean? It's got to be relative to something. But if you go and you look at the active quarterbacks on that list, 98.7 is ranked 16. I mean, that just seems fucking way low, dude. And so,
Wow.
all I can think of is that number is like a pure passing number because we know that his scrambling ability is like fucking magic. I mean, the dude's got 619 yards rushing on the season. But I would have thought he was a top 5 QB rating for sure. I was like I said, I was stunned when I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't see that when I was looking at for my power rings, but wow, that's it.
He's just working magic on the ground, man. And he's clearly doing enough through the air. You see these like late game drives. I mean, I couldn't believe it, dude. 16. Number 16.
Yeah. Wow. So for me, where it went wrong is I didn't think Seattle's defense would have a game like they did. I thought their defense was who they had been,
Yeah.
not who they were last night. And I'm not sure if that's who they are either. I think they're somewhere in between the two. And I think if Seattle's defense played like it had throughout the beginning of the season up until last night, I think Arizona would have won that game.
Yeah, Arizona
But
could have scored 60. I mean, yeah, they
yeah,
were one of the worst defenses.
yeah. So I just think where it went wrong was I didn't account for Seattle's defense being that stout.
Yeah, it was a surprise. It was a surprise. They stepped up.
Yeah. Other than that, I thought I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a lot of back and forth. I actually a a couple minutes left, like I think when Seattle got the ball for Seattle's last drive, I think that's when I turned the game off. I
Okay.
just I I just like okay, Seattle's got it. It's their defense is playing too good. I told you earlier in the game. I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
earlier in the game, I thought they looked like a well-rounded team. Seattle looked like a well-rounded team last night, which was a surprise because we have not seen that from them.
Yeah.
And a portion of that could also be the fact that they've gone away from passing and tried to establish a run game, which obviously is very effective.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if you look at the last handful of games, Russell Wilson, they've just been asking him to do way too much. The dude has had a shitload of turnovers in the last 2, 3 games. And, I think that they basically said, hey, man, let's try to find some balance so that we're not putting the full fucking weight on your shoulders.
Hmm.
And let's see if that helps our defense and we play better complementary football. And it worked. It worked last night. Let's see if it keeps working. These divisional games, man, sometimes it's hard to get a read on them, but both of these teams have looked electric at times this year. So it's,
Yeah.
they're and they, I mean, these quarterbacks are going to be fixtures for a long time. So I think it's going to be good football in that division for a number of years to come.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be entertaining to watch them play again in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully. Okay. So next up, we got Cincinnati at Washington. Who do you like there, James?
I'm I'm on the football team. I'll be more specific.
Which
I'm
one? Which one? Yeah.
I'm on Washington this week. I think Washington's offense and Alex Smith is going to figure it out a little bit more this week. If there's a defense that has more holes in it than the Detroit Lions, it's the Cincinnati Bengals defense. And I think Alex Smith is going to not make just make one mistake last or two mistakes last and not make as many mistakes, and he's just going to slowly become that player. He was out for
Yeah.
so long
Yeah.
that it's just I see them winning this week, and this is a lot for me because I had Washington winning one game at the beginning of the year. I couldn't find another win on their schedule, and I only gave them that one game because I couldn't pick them to go 0-16. If
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah.
my analysis of this team.
Oh, I do. I do. I remember. Yeah. Well, hey, I've got Washington winning this one too, and it's actually pretty close in my model. If I went by my power rankings, I know I'm being a hypocrite here. My power rankings would say Cincinnati, but I guess that's the difference of where you put a little bit of art into it versus a little bit of science into it, and so I'm sticking with my model, which has Washington winning. I think that, yeah, Alex Smith, every week, he's going to shake off some more of that rust. He's going to be smarter, and this team's going to get better. I mean, they definitely have talent on both sides of the ball. Washington does. And so it's just a matter of them playing good football now, and they can do that.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got Atlanta at New Orleans.
So if this was Wednesday, I would have had New Orleans win this game. If this was
Okay.
Thursday, I would have had New Orleans win this game. Hearing that Taysom Hill is going to be the starting quarterback, put it over to Atlanta.
Okay, so here's my Taysom Hill stat, James. He's rocking a 118.8 passer rating this year, but it's only on 5 attempts.
Yeah.
So,
He has what, like 20 attempts in his entire career?
yeah, I mean, you kind of know that if he's going out there, he's running the ball, he's not passing the ball. I mean, it's pretty heavily weighted to the run, but And by the way, he's not in that list of the 15 people above Kyler Murray. I took him out because I was like, well, he's not really an active quarterback. So, and I thought, 5 passes, that it doesn't really qualify. But yeah, it's tough, man. I think I don't know, man. I guess I got to read up on that and see if that would change my opinion. But I've got New Orleans in there. My expectation was that Jameis would be the quarterback and they would keep Taysom in his gadget role. And, maybe that means that he's going to be playing a little bit more quarterback this week, but I didn't think he'd be the exclusive quarterback this week. And so we'll see. That could flip things between now and Sunday. I think the bigger story for the Saints, though, is what's going on with Kamara. I heard he's got some injury stuff going on. I don't know how bad it is. I've not had time to look into it. But I'm convinced that this team, their success is because of what he's doing this year. And last year was kind of a down year for him, but he's kind of back to form now. He's tied for third in the league with receptions. Fucking 67 receptions for a running back at this point in the year. I mean, it's insane. It's insane, dude. And I think that's made up for a lot of the issues we've talked about with Breeze and the arm strength and whatever else. It's just that Kamara's been fucking insane. And so, I don't know. I'm going with the Saints, but you've given me some new information that you probably shouldn't have, James. So I'll let you know if it changes. But I'm probably sticking with them. I do like the way that the Saints defense, like I said, has been getting better throughout the year. The one thing I did read is that it seems like they struggle against the Falcons every year. And so, these divisional games are unpredictable. It's tough. Flip a coin sometimes. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got Pittsburgh at Jacksonville.
So, a couple things about this game. If we're picking against the spread, it would be Jacksonville. Pittsburgh under Tomlin, Pittsburgh is 1-10 against the spread as double-digit road favorites.
Oh, it's double-digit. Okay, it was like 9.5 when I checked it earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I guess you just round that up. You're double digits.
Yeah. 4 of those losses against the spread were outright losses.
Oh, wow. Well, that's where you go in you've said it a number of times that Tomlin has these games where he looks past a team. And that's a very credible stat to back that up.
I'm actually flipping this pick.
To Jacksonville?
Yes.
Oh, shit. That's ballsy, man. Oh, that is ballsy.
Here's the reason why. This is
okay.
They're double-digit favorites on the road. They have
and Pittsburgh needs a bye week?
Huh? No. They have a short week with playing Baltimore on Thursday night. A division game. Jacksonville always plays Pittsburgh tough.
So they're taking a bye week.
Yeah, I'm going against Pittsburgh again this week, and I'm going with Jacksonville.
Man, I kind of like your logic, but I think these two teams are they're too far apart on the spectrum, is my opinion. In the Pittsburgh defense is just so fucking dominant compared to like Green Bay. And so I don't know. And I love Big Ben, and I got to stick with the Steelers. You're not going to see me flip on here. But I did have, one interesting stat for this team because I'm kind of like stat happy this week or whatever you want to call it. But, a few weeks ago they traded for Avery Williamson. And I was looking at some of the defensive stats today. Avery Williamson has a fucking 119 tackles so far this season, dude. I can't. And this is another one of those things where I'm looking at NFL.com and I saw the Kyler Murray thing, and then I saw this thing, and I'm like, oh man, what am I looking at, like 2019 stats or something? Like something's fucking wrong here. Uh, the next person on the list, Bobby Wagner at 96, man. At 96. The Steelers, it's like the rich are just getting richer. Like they I don't remember what they even gave up to get this guy. It's like the Jets just gave it away and were like, "Hey, whatever, we're idiots. Take basically our best fucking player and good luck to you." I don't know, dude. It was crazy, but that was my fun stat for this. I mean, 119 tackles going into week 11. That's insane.
Jeez, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like historically, like at this point of the year, who's got the most tackles? Because I bet you that's pretty close, man. And I know guys can get 150 plus on the year, but to be already sitting at like 120, fuck, it's insane. All right, enough of that though. Moving on, we got New England at Houston. Who do you like in that game?
So this game I struggled with this week because I struggle with this because it's you flipped it on me because I have it in a different order, but
Oh, sorry.
so it's okay. With New England, Belichick is definitely good against his proteges.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is apparently 2-7 against the spread this season, which I was looking for the favorite. New England is the favorite in this game. Wow. Damn. Shit.
All right. Well, listen, you're like wavering.
I'm sticking with Houston. I'm sticking with Houston on
with
this
Houston.
game.
Okay.
Yeah, I while I see promise in what I'm seeing in New England, I think Deshaun Watson is going to light up that defense,
Okay.
and that's where the Watson lighting up the defense is kind of what gave it the edge in my modeling.
I get it. That's a difference maker for you. So I'm on the Patriots side here. I can see it going either way, and so I understand why you're wavering, man. This is one of those 4 or 5 games I was talking about. But I do think New England is going to carry some momentum into this game. I think that, even though Cam is doing nothing in the passing game, every week that goes by, I'm sure he's getting better and stronger, having recovered from COVID. Here's the thing, man. I was looking at this, going with my stats again, but, Belichick likes to go running back by committee. But Damian Harris is fucking lighting it up, man. He has 471 yards on 85 carries this season, which is good for over 5.5 yards a carry, man. They just need to keep feeding that guy. They just need to fucking keep pounding the ball. Just go run first like they did against Baltimore. I know that it's, the weather helped them in that game, but you can at least do some stuff if you got a power running game. And, and here's the deal. I looked at some of the stats. Well, here, actually, let me just change this. Let me ask you this. If you don't already know this, James, and you had to just guess, how many touchdown passes do you think Cam Newton has so far this year?
Well, I think I know it. I know it's low.
Okay, so you might know, but just give me your guess anyhow, I guess.
I wanted to say it's 1.
It's 2. He's got 2 fucking touchdown passes to 7 interceptions, okay? And the only saving grace for him is that he has 9 rushing touchdowns. But the problem is, it just goes to show how one-sided that offense is. And so it's, you're not going to be able to win every week when all you do is run the ball. But that's all they got, and it worked for them last week. I think they just got to keep going with it. I don't know. But I'm going with them for now. I just, I think Houston, it's tough, man. But I hear what you're saying. Deshaun Watson, he definitely has the potential to put some points on the board. So, but I'm going Pats for now. All right, next up I got Philly at Cleveland.
So this game all week in my modeling was Cleveland. All week. Today comes the news that Myles Garrett's out,
Oh yeah.
COVID-19. Took him out of the equation in my modeling, and it flipped it to Philly in a close game.
Ooh, all right. So, this is like the one game this week that my model picked Philly, but I'm going with Cleveland and I'm overriding the model. And for me, I love sticking to the model as much as I can, but my model has had Philly winning a lot of games this year, and they're just not getting it done. And I don't know what it is. I looked at the stats for Wentz. He's got 12 TDs to 12 interceptions. The turnovers are killing him. I think he has like another 5 touchdowns on the ground, though. So it's like, you think, it's not that bad. What is it? What is it that's killing this team? They've had the injuries, but this past week, they were the most healthy they've been all year, and they still lost to the Giants. Maybe it's my mistake because you're saying the Giants are better than I'm giving them credit for. I just don't know. It's tough, man. I had Stefanski as my runner-up coach of the year, I believe, when we did our preseason picks. I like that they got Chubb back. I think they, even without Garrett in this game, I think they've got enough pieces on both sides of the ball that they can beat a floundering Philly team. And so that's where I'm sticking for now. I don't know that this one will change, but it's definitely a close one.
Yeah. I mean, I still have it close with Philly, but the Myles Garrett not being there, I mean, he's the star of the team.
Yeah, that just had the arrow go over that way. I get it,
Yeah.
man. And I honestly, maybe that could be why my model picked Philly. But to me, I just, like, my mind won't accept it. I'm like, nope, I can't do it, man. Philly's just burned me too many times this year.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, so next up, we got our favorite team, the Detroit Lions, at the Carolina Panthers.
This one flipped this week, today.
Because of the quarterback situation, yeah.
Exactly. I'm actually going on Carolina this week.
What?
Yes.
Wait. I thought you were going to say it was flipping because you found out Bridgewater's going to be out.
No, it's flipping because...
You think Stafford's going to be out?
I think Stafford's going to be out.
So backup to backup. Yeah.
Secondly, Galladay's out.
Yeah, I mean, Galladay...
There's somebody else, another receiver's out. I forget the other one.
Okay.
And... It's just, let me look at the injury report on it because I like Stafford's questionable, but I think he's going to be out, especially on a short week with the division game coming up. If you had one game that you were to sit Stafford to rest his thumb and try to get him a little bit healthier, it would be the Panthers versus the Bears.
The backup, yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. All right, well. So I got the Lions for now.
Amendola's out.
Oh, okay. Amendola's not really been a factor this year, but I mean he's played special teams, but I'm still going to stick with the Lions for now. I don't think that this one's going to change for me. Even if I hear that Stafford is out.
Swift is out.
Oh, with the concussion.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Like,
I didn't think.
Like, I mean, it's just.
Well,
it's
yeah,
just
but he could.
much...
But Swift could still be cleared by Sunday.
No. He's
ruled out.
Injury report. Swift concussion will not play in Sunday's game against the Panthers.
I don't like that. I don't know. I'm still gonna stick with the Lions, and we'll see what happens. I'll let you know if I change, but I'm going Lions. And James, don't give me so much information because, you don't want me to flip.
Well, no, it's one of those things like it's
we got to talk about it because we're doing a show. I know.
Exactly. And it's a weird pick to change.
It is. It threw me for a loop. I thought it was the other way, but yeah, I got you. All right. So let me hit you with my fun stats Okay, so NFL.com, I was telling you the Kyler Murray thing. So Stafford on that quarterback rating is listed as number 18 at 96.2, which tells me that must be purely about passing because Stafford has zero scrambling ability like Kyler Murray does. I don't know, but here's the thing: is when I saw that that he was 18, my thought was, why are we hanging on to this guy? Why are we so afraid of moving on from him? And you didn't want to get into the huge Lions rant this week, and so I'll keep it short. The one thing that I guess can make you feel a little bit better is that Stafford does rank higher than Phillip Rivers on that QBR list. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
We also know that Phillip Rivers can't run the ball either.
True. 2 statues in the pocket. Okay, next game up, we got Tennessee at Baltimore.
This game was difficult not to override.
Okay.
In my modeling. I don't like how either team is playing. I think Tennessee can run the ball against Baltimore this week, and I think that's big. And I'm talking myself into flipping cut.
You just,
dang it.
You got to have some conviction, man. All right, here. Let me give you a minute. I'll give you my spiel, and then you can make your decision. And obviously, you still have until Sunday, okay? So here's my thing, is that, like you were saying earlier with Tennessee, they look like a different team these past few weeks. And I'm sure that Baltimore, not only are they bitter from losing in the rain last week, that this is a major, major revenge game for them after getting spanked by Tennessee in the playoffs last year. And I went back and I looked at it and I was like, how did that happen? Lamar Jackson in that playoff game, dude, he had 365 yards passing and 143 yards rushing. And somehow they still lost that fucking game, dude. Like, I don't know how that happened. And what's even crazier is when I was going through looking at that box score today, Tannehill only had 85 yards passing in that game. Like, the saving grace was Derrick Henry had 195 rushing yards. Without Taylor Lewan, can he repeat that against Baltimore? I don't know, man. I will say this, too, on the flip side, for Baltimore. Season to date, Lamar has 524 rushing yards. Tennessee's defense, they've been leaky at times, man. And so I'm going Baltimore. The last I saw, it was like a 6-point spread. Maybe if I was a betting person, I might take Tennessee with the points, but I can't take Tennessee to win it. At least not right. I mean, I think it's too far apart. I got to go Baltimore. If Tennessee gets back on track, they start beating some teams, maybe I would like them. But I'm not seeing it in this one.
I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Okay, then, give me your reasons.
Okay, so what it boils down to is in the playoff game last year, Derrick Henry ran for 195 yards. I don't think this run defense, how it's been playing, especially with Calais Campbell out, probably Brandon Williams out, I don't think that bodes well for Baltimore's defense. Baltimore in the past 7 games without Williams, they've allowed an average of 165 rushing yards.
Ooh, that's a good stat.
I think that Tennessee, yeah, you're right that with Luan out, is it Luong or Luan?
Lewan, Lewan.
Yeah, Luan out.
U of M guy, man.
Yeah, I hate U of M, so
I know. I'm just we're from Michigan, so I'm just pointing it out.
So I think even though he's out, I think they're going to rely heavily on Derrick Henry.
Okay.
And I don't think Tannehill will have to do much, and because of how effective the rushing game will be in this game.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Hey, fair enough, man. And I like Tannehill. Uh, I like a lot of the pieces on that offense, other than Derrick Henry. I like AJ Brown. I think Corey Davis is finally having a good season. For being such a high first round pick, a lot of people put the bust label on him, and he'll probably never live up to that draft pick. But he's having a good year this year. Obviously they got Jonnu Smith. They have a couple other tight ends that are really good too that kind of float under the radar. I don't know. I just they've not been playing good football lately, and I can't get on the Tennessee bandwagon right now. And that's hard for me to say because I love Vrabel. I like the power running kind of teams, but I would be happy if they pulled off the upset. But I'm going with Baltimore. So that's fun. We're gonna have a little bit of friction. All right, so this is a fun one to talk about. We got the New York Jets at the Los Angeles Chargers. Don't tell me you're taking the Jets.
I can't take the Jets. My hesitation in this game is how the Chargers can't hold the lead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. And like I said, the Jets are coming off a bye. The Chargers can't close. That makes this a very dicey game, dude. It makes it a very dicey game.
and Flacco plays well, in general, plays well against the Chargers. I think if Sam Darnold was starting this game, I think I might have actually picked the Jets to win this game.
Oh, wow.
I think it's that close, but I'm going to stick with the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. I think the thing is we've seen the Chargers offense can just explode.
It's in LA. It's not at New York.
Did I say it backwards?
Yeah, I thought you said Chargers at the Jets.
I don't know. Well, I'll go back and I'll pull the tape later, but that's a technicality. Slap me on the wrist. We'll move on.
Oh, no. That was part of the reasons why I was sticking with the Chargers.
Yeah, because they got the home field. Yeah, I got you. Which is tough because really, is there a home field advantage this year? If there is, well, I guess for a game like that, you could say that there's got to be a little bit of a factor because you're going all the way to the West Coast. So, that time change does mess with these, closer to the East Coast teams. And there's like some stats that back that up, man. I've talked to a couple of our buddies about that, and I've looked it up before. But okay, next up we got Miami at Denver.
Did you actually make your pick? I'm kidding. There's no way you're picking the Jets on this one.
Oh yeah. Sorry, no, I thought it was I thought. I guess I should clarify. Fuck no, I can't get behind the Jets. No, I think that we've seen the Chargers offense. They've blown up in some games. We've not seen that with the Jets. And so I just think it's more likely than not the Chargers are going to outscore them. And that's how you win these games. You gotta have more points than the other team. So that's, I don't know. That's what I'm going with. And I'm just being stupid. But all right. So Miami at Denver.
All right. So Miami, in their last 4 games at Mile High, they're 4-0 against the spread.
Okay, but how are they against the points on the board?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure. I don't want to quote it because I heard it, but I couldn't actually find it. So I'm not sure I don't remember exactly if it was 4-0 against the spread or 4-0 against the Broncos.
Okay.
Their last 8 games that was 4-0 at Mile High. Last 8 games against the Broncos, 8-0 against the spread.
So you're gonna take them with the points.
Miami's favored this week. And so that's going to continue. And plus the Broncos are playing like shit.
All right, now what you're saying makes sense to me. I get it now. Yeah, I'm going Miami, man. I mean, other than the Steelers with their hype train, Miami is like the other team in the league that has like a fucking roaring hype train, and I'm on board with it. I like it. I do want to see more of Tua playing at that level that he's been playing at. And I want to see that some of these defensive fucking plays are not just a fluke, that they can keep that going every week. But man, every time I see the highlights, I love what I'm seeing on Miami. And then yeah, the flip side is Drew Lock sucks. Maybe I shouldn't talk shit about him because the last time I did, he won the game. But he's sitting at, dude, and I know he's missed some time this year, okay, James? But he's sitting at 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions on the year. So much for the breakout season. I don't know, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give you the one positive stat for Denver if you want it, because I went stat crazy today. Brandon McManus, the kicker, has 6 field goals of plus 50 yards. So, you
Yeah,
gotta love that mile high air, man.
but Prater so far is leading McManus for the free beer.
The free beer.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
some kind of it's like Bud Light or Miller Light or something. Like I don't know the full details of it, but it's like the longest game-winning field goal by a kicker will get that city free beer.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
And so what was it this past week when
Yeah,
Prater
this
nailed
past
that?
week Prater
Yeah.
took the lead.
What was it, a 59-yarder or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, so that's
Like
59 yards. That's going to be hard to beat, man.
yeah, I'll look it up while you
Well, I give you the
finish.
next one. All right. Well, all right. So yeah, so I'm taking Miami. The next game we got Dallas at Minnesota, and I'm going with Minnesota in this one. James, if I was a betting man, I might take Dallas with the points, but I would not take Dallas to win. I like that Dallas is coming off the bye week. They're getting Andy Dalton back. But we talked about it. Really, how much does that matter that they're getting Andy Dalton back? And I think no matter what, Minnesota has some momentum coming into this game. Their offense has been improving. Here's what I'll tell you about this one game, and it's not even about the game. It's a fantasy football thing, James. I drafted in one of my leagues Justin Jefferson way late, and I thought it was going to be like the steal of the fucking draft. And then 2 weeks in, he basically did nothing, and my team was already decimated with injuries. I dropped him, and now look at it. He's fucking 7th in the NFL with 762 receiving yards right now. Just a kick in the nuts, man. But, we talked about it last week. He stepped in great for Diggs. His progression has been at such a rapid rate this year. It's blowing my mind. This is the reality. It's not fantasy. I'm going with Minnesota.
Okay, so I'm on Minnesota this week. I have no faith in Dallas. I just have no faith in Dallas. They look like crap. I have no more analysis of this game. I think
yeah.
both teams are pretty bad. Back to the free beer. It's Bud Light. Apparently in the offseason, McManus said he wanted to beat the record.
What is it, 62?
64.
64.
64-yard, longest field goal, wanted to beat Prater's record. So then Prater kind of chimed in, and since he said something, when I break my own record, where do you? So Bud Light said, so McManus, if you break the record, we'll buy Denver free beer. Prater responded with, when I break my own record, what are you doing for the city of Detroit?
Yeah.
So it came down to whoever has the longest field goal throughout the season, whether it's Prater or McManus, will get that city free beer.
But do they have to break it, or it's just
No,
the longest
no, it's
between the
just
two?
the
Okay.
longest between the two.
Well, yeah, I mean, 59 is impressive. So I do think it's a bit of an unfair advantage. You know, that altitude, it helps the ball kind of sail. But, you know, a lot of coaches, man, they don't like kicking them that far because you give the other team the ball in great position if you miss. So there's not going to be a lot of opportunities. But hey, that's cool, man. I'd love to get some free beer.
Yeah. And before we move to the Sunday night game, did we talk about the Colts and the Packers? For some reason, I don't remember hitting that one.
They are up next, James.
Okay, so you're. I was just like,
You know, I don't know. I thought that when I put my notes in, I went off of the schedule off of NFL.com. That's kind of how I've been doing it every week. But the board that we're using to track the picks, that I just adjust for whatever the change is because of you know, we set that up at the beginning of the year, and then that COVID reschedule kind of messed that up. And so instead of redoing that whole thing, I just kind of change it every week based on what games are different. But so
all right.
so for the next
So
one,
so I had my order in the previous. Okay, so that's what threw me. All right, I'm good.
all right, and hey, maybe that's why you're getting wacky with flipping the picks. I don't know, but so yeah, Green Bay at Indy. Who do you like, man?
So this game was, well, I give all the praise in the world to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I'm hearing Adams may or not play. Last I heard, he was going to play. I'm not certain if he's going to play. And this pick is actually flipping as I'm talking about it because before, when I made the pick, Adams wasn't playing.
okay.
One of the things is Green Bay is 5-1 outright as a road underdog under LaFleur.
And yeah, so what they're it's what, like a 1.5 point spread in Indy's
Yeah,
favor. Okay,
Indy's favored, and
you want to go
I'm not.
Packers?
I'm gonna go Packers. I don't want to pick the Packers, but it's just stuff I was hearing previously that
Oh yeah, no, you got to have the most up to date information. These games are too tight this week.
yeah, and I was hearing all week that um, Adams was going to be out, or it was really iffy
Okay,
if Adams was going to play, and now I'm hearing today that he's going to play.
gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, this is one of the games that I've been on the fence on. This is one of those handful of games I've been talking about all night. I can see it going either way. Right now, I'm going with the Packers. You know that I really like Indy's defense, and the Packers' defense has been sucking, especially against the run. Their secondary is actually pretty good, but they've been sucking it up against the run, and so. I don't know. I could see myself potentially flipping to Indy between now and Sunday. But for now, something's telling me go with Rodgers over Rivers. And so that's where I'm at for now. Shit, I don't know, man. On Sunday morning, we're just going to have to like redo our fucking spreadsheet because there's a lot of moving parts, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
changed anything. I've adjusted the spreadsheet for my changes. So
Okay.
I'll just send out this to you, and
Yeah.
then we should be good.
Fresh start. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until we change Sunday morning and
Yeah.
fuck everything
Yeah.
up.
Okay. So the probably what could be the most exciting game of the week: Kansas City at Las Vegas.
The thing about this, two things I'm hearing. Andy Reid doesn't talk about motivation in the media whatsoever. Apparently, after beating Kansas City in Kansas City a few weeks ago, the Raiders took victory laps around Arrowhead Stadium in the bus.
I heard about that, man. Yeah.
And Andy Reid has been talking about it to the media all fucking week.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Also, Andy Reid is 18-3 in his last 21 games coming off a bye.
Yeah, I don't know how you take. I mean, I get it. The Raiders pulled off the upset of the season when they beat Kansas City earlier in the year. I just I can't see them repeating that, man. I just can't.
No, I'm on Kansas City this week. This one is my firmest pick of the week.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like rock solid on this one too. I don't think this one's moving. It's hard to go against Kansas City. Fuck, we got them at number 2 on our boards, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, here's the one thing I'll say about Kansas City is that earlier in the year, you might remember that I was saying I had read about people questioning if Kelsey was losing some of his speed. And at some point, we probably talked about how it seemed kind of funny because, if he was losing his speed, why would they extend him and whatever else? But I got to tell you, man, if this guy's losing his speed, he's becoming a way more savvy player because I was looking up his stats earlier. He's 6th in the NFL in receiving yards. The dude has fucking 769 receiving yards. And so I don't know what source it was that I heard that this guy's slowing down. He's fucking tearing it up, dude. Him and Mahomes have a connection that's just flat out legit. And you would think with all the mouths to feed in Kansas City, like, how could he just be racking up these stats? He's that good, dude. He's that fucking good. I love it. He used to be baby Gronk, and then he didn't like that. And now he's just dominant.
Yeah.
Okay. Monday night, we got the Rams at the Buccaneers.
This game was super close for me. A couple things that went into that I tried to factor into my analysis is Brady. When you pressure Brady, he sucks. But the weirdest stat I came across when I was doing my analysis is like Aaron Donald's played against Brady like 3 times, twice. He's played 2 games against Brady. He has never sacked him in those 2 games.
Okay. I mean, it's a small sample size, but he is the most dominant defensive lineman in this generation. Yeah.
But I really like how the Rams are playing.
Yeah.
I really like what I see out of them. I think, and it's such a hard game for me, especially like Brady is like 8-1-1 against the spread as a 7-point or less favorite on Monday Night Football.
Okay.
It's like this game is that close to me.
Yeah.
It's just, I think I'm gonna go. But my model spit out the Rams, and that's why I stuck with it because all those little nuggets going into it is like, you have this saying this way, but you have these saying this way, but the model you have to stick true to the model when it's so close like that. So I'm on the Rams.
I gotcha. And I tell you what, man, my model also picked the Rams, and I was surprised. I thought that it was going to take the Bucs, and I'm sticking with the Rams in this game. Here's the thing: the Bucs have been streaky, okay, and I mean the Rams. I don't want to say that they've been like super consistent, but they had their bye 2 weeks ago. They beat the Seahawks. I think that that's going to help them coming into this game. The Buccaneers, I get it. They just, spanked the Panthers, but you're talking a different caliber team. And so, the one thing that concerns me that I read about is that the Rams struggle when teams slow down their running game. And I think that if a team can slow down their running game, it's the Buccaneers. But I'm still going with the Rams. I'm not going to change it. I will tell you, like one of my, hey, my stat happy, whatever you want to call it, that I thought was interesting for this game is that, and it's really not even for this matchup, it's just for the Buccaneers in general, is that Ronald Jones is sitting at 730 yards rushing on the season, which is third in the league, dude. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to sound like super crazy about it because I thought, he was not like a super high draft pick, but high enough that you thought, okay, you give the guy some time, he'll develop and be a solid starter. And I thought, hey, this could be his year. And then they brought in Shady McCoy, and then they brought in Leonard Fournette. And so I thought, oh, what the fuck do you do with this backfield? There's no way in hell this guy's got a shot. And now here we are, number 3 in the NFL through 10 weeks. I mean, I'm just impressed by that. And so I just wanted to say that. That's all.
No, Ronald Jones is playing well. I think I had read that like 5 of the last 7 weeks he's been in the top 25 for running backs.
Yeah, and I mean, what was it, last week or the week before? He had the fucking 98-yard run. I mean, hey, that'll boost your stats. Okay, so James, let's look forward now to next Thursday, which I believe when I sent you the spreadsheet, I only put one team on there, but it dawned on me, well, next Thursday's Thanksgiving. So we got 3 games we got to look at. Let's start with Houston at Detroit. And obviously these are a ways away, so these ones, there's more time, to settle on them because, hey, anything could happen this weekend. Fucking Deshaun Watson could get a concussion or who knows, So
I'm on Detroit. Like when I looked at this game and tried to model it out, it was pretty heavily in Detroit's favor.
Mm-hmm.
Factoring in the short week, performance on Thanksgiving kind of swung it a little bit. It's just it's Detroit. I think Houston is not. While I like Watson and I think he can win some games for him, the rest of that team isn't playing well enough just to play true passing offense.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I've got Detroit in this one as well. My model says that this is a very winnable game for Detroit. And I hope they do win it because just as well as I do, every year you hear the chatter about, oh, man, the Lions, man, they always suck. Why do they get a Thanksgiving game? And
it's because they created the fucking tradition.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. And here's the thing is, in my opinion, I get it. You want to see a team that gets that spot be a good team consistently. And we've not. Fair enough. But it means a shitload to the Lions fans. And there's serious tradition here. To change that would be detrimental. And I hope it doesn't change.
Plus, that's why they added the third game on Thursday night to have that rotating game that has a actual real good matchup.
An actual real good matchup. Very well said. Yes. All right, so let's look at the next one. I got Washington at Dallas. And Dallas, by the way, is the other. For the people that don't know, they're the other team that always gets a game on Thanksgiving. Yeah,
and so I just don't like how Dallas is playing.
Mm-hmm.
This one could change because it's not. It's going to depend on how both teams look this weekend. What my ultimate pick is. But I'm still on Washington in this game, and I know I'm picking them to win another game. I said at the beginning of the year they'd be lucky to have one.
Fuck, man, tripling your win prediction.
More than that, I think this is like the 4th game this year or 5th game this year that I picked them to win.
Oh, that you picked them to? Okay, all right, I got you. So yeah, I'm on Washington also for this one, and I think that just the way that Dallas has fallen into oblivion. I think Washington is better on both sides of the ball. It's crazy to say that. And so I'm going with Washington. Last up, we got Baltimore at Pittsburgh. And that's like a lights out game for fucking Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, I am firmly planted on Pittsburgh for this game.
Okay.
The only thing that could change that is if Pittsburgh has like a million injuries this week, or Roethlisberger gets a concussion or COVID and he's out.
Oh,
Like,
don't jinx him. Don't jinx him.
I'm
Yeah.
saying like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is that far ahead of Baltimore.
I gotcha. Well, yeah, I know, but the last game came down to the wire, man.
It did, but that was at Baltimore.
All right. Well, I'm going with Pittsburgh also. I'm not as confident as you, but I want Pittsburgh to win because I like Pittsburgh. Okay, so those are the picks for the week. And hey, it could change up between now and Sunday. We'll see what happens. But we're locked in, sort of for now. Let's move on to our other segment of the show, which is the question of the week. And this week, I'm not doing anything crazy. And so for anybody watching, this is kind of like the Name That Stadium, where I'm gonna pose a question, and there's no right or wrong answer necessarily. It's just about your opinion. Whatever you think, throw it in the comments section. We want to see it. We want to know. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. Who knows? But this week, like I said, nothing crazy. It's just that, we're having a year where we have three phenomenal rookie quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Tua, I don't even want to try saying his last name because I can't with my Michigan mumble. And Justin.
Viola.
Thank you, James.
Tonga
And
Vailoa.
you came from Michigan, man. I don't know how like all of a sudden you can like articulate better, but good for you. And then Justin Herbert. And so out of these three quarterbacks, my question is, and we'll talk about reasons why here, James. Who do you think will finish their career, not just this season, their career with the most wins?
Damn.
And while you're thinking, let me give you what's in my head. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. I think that as of the information we have today, the answer is Tua, and it's not even close. I think that, like we talked about, the Dolphins had so much turnover in the offseason. They gutted this team. They drafted great. They had a great free agency. They did all these things, and they're having immediate traction. It seems like everybody's behind the coach. I think that bodes well for them long term. I think that they're gelling. They're cohesive. I think that they definitely got to get a few more pieces on the offensive line. I think they got to get a good running back, which, they found some kind of like no-name guys that have been making it work this year. But the defense, they've got pieces. It's working. When I look at these other teams, it makes me nervous because, Burrow going to Cincinnati, this is like kind of the curse of being drafted number one overall, is that you're going to the worst team in the league. And so you've got like the biggest mountain to climb, so to speak. And, you talk about it. Their offensive line's so bad. Their defense is so bad. It's like, can they put enough pieces around Burrow that he'll be able to overcome all that? I don't know, man. I really don't know. And, sometimes if you don't see that within the first couple of years, it turns into like a revolving door of coaches and new players. And so that worries me about Burrow. And then with Herbert, I think he's kind of in between the two, but a little bit closer to like that same risk as Burrow, where, you've called it with, hey, maybe we got to move on from Anthony Lynn. And that could start that cycle with the Chargers. And it's like, Herbert, he's had these flashes, but he's not been able to close. And then the defense, well, they've got talent, but man, they just keep fucking getting injuries. And so it's like some of those things, it's like if they don't fix themselves, I don't know. Where does it go? So I like Tua. That's my answer. Now that you've heard me ramble for a little bit, what do you think, man?
So what eliminated Herbert for me wasn't even thinking about that potential cycle of getting rid of the coach or this. It came down to Burrow and Tua. The thing that with Herbert is he has probably the best quarterback that the league has ever seen in his division. Has to play him twice a year, every year. Herbert and Tua will only have to play him once every 4 years. Burrow, you look at the division, you have some teams that down the line are going to be in flux. Like you have Cleveland. You're not sure if Baker's the answer. Roethlisberger's going to retire soon, and they don't have a contingency plan without Roethlisberger. Lamar Jackson is a question mark because it does seem like, and you called it at the beginning of the year, you were wondering if defenses were going to figure him out, and it's starting to seem like defenses are figuring him out. You look at the AFC East. Who's going to be the quarterback in New England? Who's going to be the quarterback for the Jets?
Yep.
Is Josh Allen the real thing? I think Josh Allen might be the real thing, and might be the real thing, and might be a solid starting quarterback, but he's not the dominant starting quarterback, and that's what gave it to Tua. Aside from the other stuff, just looking at those factors gave it to Tua. I didn't even have to go into the team itself. And I agree with what you said about Miami. Miami, they have pieces, but they do also have some older pieces that they signed in free agency. Mm-hmm. So that's of a little bit of a concern. But
I think they've drafted so well. Like, notably this last season, that just gives me the confidence that this team knows what the heck they're doing.
Exactly, and that's where I was going with it.
Nice. So, well, hey, I like that we're on the same page, man. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly where I was going with it. They've drafted so well. They have those pieces that will be able to come in, step up, and it looks like their offensive line is starting to gel a little bit together, which is promising.
Yeah, and hey, so like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, but this is one that I'd love to hear what other people think, man, because, out of the three, Tua has the least amount of playing time so far, and we've seen Burrow, fairly consistently moving the ball. We've seen Herbert even more so than Burrow, really moving the ball and getting some points. And Tua, he had a little flash in the pan. And then the 1 week, his first week, the defense just did all the work for him. But certainly you can see the potential on the field. And so it's anybody's guess. This is something we'll be talking about maybe 10 or 15, who knows, however many years from now. But so far, fuck, man, it's pretty goddamn cool. We got three sweet rookie quarterbacks all in one shot, man.
Yeah, what was that, 2005? No, can't be that. Not that late. 2002? The Roethlisberger, Rivers.
Oh, Eli. Yeah. I don't know what year that was, but yeah.
That's like when I think about this past year's draft. That's the draft that at quarterback that pops in my head. Yeah, those guys. Hey, they all had solid careers, man. It just sucks because, like, for Rivers, he was statistically and competitively one of the better quarterbacks for a long time. And he was just in one of those situations where they could never get the team around him. And even when they had the team around him, they got hit by the injury bug every year, man. I mean, it just, there was a lot of years where I was like, I love this team. And then guys would just drop like flies. And so it's like, well, fuck, what can you do? So I was initially a year off. It was 2004.
Okay. Hey, 16 years ago. I mean, it makes sense. All those guys, Eli retired. Rivers is there. Roethlisberger, he's getting close. It's time,
Yeah, it wasn't. There was another quarterback in that draft, too.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Who else was in that one? I don't know.
Well, apparently there were 17 quarterbacks drafted in that. in that
Yeah,
draft.
but but relevant starters. That's yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up here, man. Do you have any closing thoughts for tonight?
No, I think I've hit a lot of my thoughts this week. We kind of went a little bit longer than normal because I had too much to say about some teams.
Hey, that's all right. I had a lot of stats this week. It was a fun week for me. So, yeah, we went a little bit over, but whatever. Who cares, man? It's our show. We can do what we want. So, all right. Well, hey, if you're good, then I'll do the little wrap up here. Basically, for anybody watching, thank you. We hope you liked what you saw. Please check us out again. We really want to get some people to hit us up with the comments. You can also go over to gridirongrinder.com and hit us up there if you want. And just remember, whoever names that stadium, it's so tricky, especially this week. It kind of threw me for a loop. We give you a special shout out next week. So hit us up, subscribe, whatever you can. Thank you. And James, I had fun, man. Have a good night. I'll catch up with you in a little bit.
All right, sounds good. You too.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut, hut, hike.